So I recently built an entire AI SaaS app from scratch to actually work in MVP in just 7 days. Well, actually, I wanted to build it in 7 days, but I ended up using 5 days instead. And today I'm going to spill out all the tools and the stack that I used to build this AI app very quickly and launch it to gain a lot of users in my first launch. And this is something that if you are aspiring solo dev or a developer, you want to build apps, you want to build AI SaaS or any type of app, whether mobile or web, you really have to take note of what I'm about to spill up to you. So let's not wait and go straight to how I build my SaaS app. Well, before I build anything, I visualize it in my head, which is quite obvious, but I divide them into three main parts. Part one is to handle UI and UX. Part two is mainly about developing, which is more locally, and part three is deployment and making sure it's actually working. In part one, which is the UI and UX, this is something that I found most people spend a lot of time on there, and it consumes most of your time span of building an AI setup. Normally, to me, I don't spend a day or two building my UI and UX, and it might surprise you because you don't try to reinvent the wheel. Actually, take inspiration online and building real quick. And the main tools that I use in building my UI is Figma and Miro, which I use sometimes for my flowcharts to know how my apps are going to be. If I'm going to add landing page, sign up, sign in, straight to the main app and other stuff. To now, it's quite obvious I know how my apps flowcharts are really are. So I don't normally build flowchart, but before when I started, I used to use flowcharts. So I will know how the app would be prior to that, and it will be very easy for me to build if I want to build. And to build the UI, I use Figma and Pinterest for inspiration. Trust me, whatever that you want to build is already available out there. If not exactly, there is a variant of it or something very similar to what you want to build. So just go to Pinterest, type in what you want to build, and you're going to see a lot of UI design, UI kits. Some are even very much easier because they are UI kits for Figma. Just click and you gain all the UI designs of it. With simple clicks, you get UI already for you, done for you. You don't have to reinvent any wheel. Get the UI, customize it to how you want it to be, and go straight into development. You don't need to spend a lot of time in designing UIs. It's already done for you and it's already in the web. So that is why you don't want to waste a lot of time on there. But to make it very quick and jump into the next stage, which is actually developing the app. Well, in developing your application, there are two main routes which you can go into. One being to go for a no code or low code builders like Bubble or Flatterflow. And two is actually going a coding route, which is basically writing your code from scratch. But I do not recommend writing your code entirely from scratch. Mind you, I go on a coding route, I write my code, but I don't write entirely from scratch because there are AI tools that can make the journey very much easier and shorter for you. So you don't need to write every single code from scratch. If you want to implement something, just go straight to ChatGPT, tell it that you want code for this and that. It's going to generate for you. And if you need to customize it to you. Don't try writing every code from scratch. Chances are you will write it, it's gonna work, but your code is not very well optimized for it to live the long lifespan that you are wishing to. I'm not trying to tell you you're a bad coder or a bad developer, but why try do everything from scratch when it is already out there that you can take for free and customize it to how you want it to be? That is why I recommend, if you're going on the coding route, utilize AI heavily. I don't care if you're going to use ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude, just make sure you are using AI. That is going to spell out the code for you, customize it, put it in your app, and you save bunch of time from trying to write it from scratch and debugging it and using the console logs and all this stuff. And because I code my stuff from scratch, these are the tech stacks that I use. If I'm building a web app, which I do mostly, I use Next.js, and this backend is either MongoDB or Supabase, which I've been using more recently. The reason why I choose Next.js is because it's built on React, which I know already, and Next.js also handles the backend very easily, and integrating with Supabase is like a no-brainer that you use. It's like a no-brainer. So Next.js, Supabase for the backend, and authentication is already handled in Supabase. If I want to use external one, which is like Google for authentication, or Facebook, or GitHub, or anything, the flow is very much easy that you can't think of any other alternative. If I want to build a mobile app, I use React Native because I am heavily JavaScript and TypeScript guy. So if I'm using Next.js for the web, it's much easier for me to use React Native for the mobile. And also more advantage on it is that I write one code, but I can ship for both Google Play Store and iOS App Store at the same time. So just writing once by getting two main applications at a time. And you alone are not a big company to spend so much time trying to develop an app, which in the end might not even succeed, because yes, there are lots of high rates of your app not succeed. It's easy. Next.js and Supabase for my web application, and React Native for my mobile. And yes, it's all connected to Supabase, which is my main database that I use most of the time. If it's MongoDB, it's MongoDB for all. And for payment, if I want to collect any payment through my app, I use Stripe and Stripe only because it's easy to connect to both at the same time. And also developing it, I don't try to spend a lot of time developing on adding more and more features, because you ship MVP first, and MVP should be mainly one feature. So if your app is about tracking habits, make sure the MVP is mainly tracking habits and not anything external like putting features that you think of in the future. Make it the one feature that you can build and ship in a couple of days and iterate on them based on user feedback or trending on market, however you do iteration. But just put this in mind and note this down. MVP is just one feature and one feature only. Don't try stacking up features, because I've done it in my last failed apps, which I stacked with a lot of features. It took me like 2 to 3 months to build them, and at the end I ended up with 0 users. So do not repeat such mistake. Build one feature, ship it faster, and then iterate or build features on top based on users recommendation or user feedback. And this is stage 3, which is deploying it. If you're using Next.js is for Vercel, so it's easy to deploy with. If you're using Next.js is for Vercel, so it's easy to deploy to Vercel, and you actually get a free plan that you can deploy with an URL, not custom URL though, but you get your app already online for people to test. Then later you can even try of purchasing a URL or a domain, which is like a very good deal. You can go check out Vercel's pricing if you want to upgrade. But if you want to deploy a web app, Vercel straight ahead. And for a mobile app, since I'm using React Native, I use Expo, which is easy for you to export your app in both iOS and Android at the same time. One thing that I do, which is more like a marketing but not really a marketing way, is when I build my apps, I post them on Products Hunt. People are really saying it's not working anymore, but I get some traffic from there to your site. And also be heavy on social media. If Twitter or X, go there. There are lots of startups, groups and community you can join. If anyone make a post, try engaging and in a way comment with your startups, trying to hint them that you have something as such you should go check it out. Even if they don't sign up as user or paying user, the more the traffic gets there, you might get feedback and you know that this is not working, and you tweak this, and you can actually get your few users from there. That is how I get my traffic. These are the tools that I use most of the time. It's just simple tools, but relying on AI heavily is how I got my stuff done very quickly. The one message that I'll leave to you now is utilize AI. If you don't know how to use AI, learn to use them now. Learn to write prompts. And check the description. I've put in all the link to the tools that I use in there. And then subscribe and share this video. See you on the next one.